Weekend before Christmas, final show of the year. And I realized I wear like the same thing pretty much every single show. I rotate maybe between 3 different sweatshirts.
New hat today.
Exactly. Shout out to the Millers, Torrey Pines. Last show before the new year. We'll be back live on a Thursday, January 2nd, where we will have decided at that point the 4 semifinal teams in the college football playoff. We'll get to the first round games this coming weekend. Saturday is going to be a lot of fun. You get 2 NFL games, 3 college football playoff games. We'll talk about the fact that
TVs
those
everywhere.
2 sports are going against one another. Is that a good thing? The Yankees stay active as they try to make up for missing out on Juan Soto. We have our NFL picks as well for week 16. Only 3 games remaining in the regular season. And the professional bull riding tour is coming back to MVP Arena. We're talking with one of the stars here this week on Onorato and Miller. Let's go.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, here we go. Alpenhaus, Bevs, Marcella's, Performance Industrial, and Novice with us each and every single week. It's been a long-running partnership with each of those, and we are so grateful to have them with us. Carol's watching. Carol, hello. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Carol.
Happy holidays. Brian, Merry Christmas, buddy. Happy holidays. Yeah. I know. I think we both took the Lions last week, didn't we? Okay. Hey, believe me, it's not the only pick I've gotten wrong this year. What do you see my record? Sam, live from Siena. Okay.
He's diehard.
Women's Hoops checking us
Diehard.
out courtside. You've got 25 minutes or so until tip-off. We do the show live on a Thursday night. If you're catching us on TV over the weekend, we so appreciate that. It's a great way to find the show, but we love the interaction, of course, of what social media brings to the show. I was a downer on the idea of expanding the college football playoff. I still am to a degree because I don't believe you're going to get a team below. Okay.
In the Final Four? What do you...
I was going to say I don't think you're going to get a team. Well, you won't get a team below 5 in the rankings to win the national championship. But in the seedings, you could go as low as 8. Ohio State could win this whole thing. But they're seeded much higher than, they're ranked much higher than they're seeded.
We've talked about weird things happening, like with Notre Dame's road or SMU potentially being able to kind of wiggle their way. Like Notre Dame could do it, could at least get there. I'm not saying they're going to win the whole thing, but that would be a 7. It could happen. Crazier things have happened. I'm excited. I know you've said it's not better football, but it's more football.
Correct.
And I'm okay with even just like decent games would be okay. I'll probably watch more college than NFL on Saturday, unless the games turn bad. Then I'll watch the NFL. I'd rather watch a bad NFL game than a bad college game.
Yeah, for sure. And look, we'll talk about the fact that these 2 sports are going head-to-head against one another, but these are the matchups for Friday and Saturday. Indiana, Notre Dame Friday, the other 3 Saturday. I mean, at Ohio State, at Notre Dame, at Penn State, it's going to be cold. And so you might get bad football because it might be difficult to throw the ball for a lot of these teams. It's going to be cold. But I'm with you. It's more football, and I will watch. Saturday, like I plan on being locked in, a triple header of games, and you got noon. You got a double header of games in the NFL to save you if you need saving. So, which one of these are you looking forward to most? What's the best matchup on the board here for you?
Listen, I love that there's a game Friday night because even if it's bad, I'm probably going to watch it.
Sure.
So, and it's the in-state rivalry. I love that. I'm excited for both fan bases. I think I'm most interested in Tennessee, Ohio State.
Okay. I think the best part about this, aside from being just more football, is that we're getting matchups that we never see. And that's what makes it interesting. Like, when's the last time Tennessee went to Ohio State?
SMU to Penn State, probably never. Well, maybe back in the day.
Clemson and Texas, you could see in one of those opening weekend kickoff things. Indiana, Notre Dame, Indiana has been relevant forever. So it's just fun because it's new in a lot of ways. Now they need to fix the playoff because you can't have Boise State and Arizona State getting buys. That just cannot happen.
Because it just leads to the potential for really ugly second round games. And a first round bad game, a first round stinker is fine.
Yep.
A second round stinker is really going to be a downer. And I think if they get that next year, it'll flip.
Yeah, I think 26 is the first time they can do that. Okay. But which is what I say about the NCAA basketball tournament all the time is like, hey, the Cinderella stuff is fun until it's the Final Four and they lose by 20. Now that's not fun. Give me the best teams in the country in the biggest games, and Arizona State is good. Boise State is good, but Arizona State wouldn't be favored against Clemson or Texas, and same for Boise against SMU and Penn State. I don't think SMU may be close, but any upsets? Do you see any upsets here? Any road teams? Let me put it that way. Any road teams winning?
I think SMU has a chance. Not if it's freezing cold and snowing or something like that, but I think SMU has a chance. And listen, I will forever be an ACC person. I think Clemson and Dabo in this tournament is fun.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they do something weird like you make them tight, anything can happen. I don't see Indiana beating Notre Dame. And I don't know. I don't think Tennessee beats Ohio State either, but I hope they do.
Clemson is the only 3-loss team in this field, which is to say they're like the, Syracuse team that lost 14 games and didn't deserve to get in.
Got in and made
but now here they are, and maybe they make things interesting. Yeah.
That's my team.
I think Ohio State's going to get tight if Tennessee keeps this close. And my guess is because it's going to be so cold, Tennessee's run defense is so good and they run the ball well. So the Vols can keep this low scoring, which they want to do. And that crowd, I don't know, it could get interesting at the shoe. If Ohio State loses, does Ryan Day get fired?
I don't think so, but you never know.
Yeah.
You say yes? If they lose to Tennessee, you say yes?
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, they've got the toughest matchup. It's an 8-9 game, and then they got to go play Oregon. So there's a good chance they lose the next week if they don't lose the first. I think there's a good chance they win the next week if
I do too.
They face Oregon.
Yeah,
so
I do too. Easy for me to say yes, he should be fired. I don't currently have a who do they hire instead.
Well, sure.
But that to me is my always thing. It's like, don't tell me you want somebody fired unless you have a better option. Right? Like everybody's like, you got to fire. Well, okay, but who are you going to hire? Who's going to win more games next year than Ryan Day?
I don't know. There could be.
Okay.
And someone could get fired in the NFL. A coordinator could come take a job. Like maybe Ben Johnson decides the NFL is not for me. I'll go take a college job. Like, who, you know what I mean? Crazier stuff has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 3 college football playoff games on Saturday, 2 NFL games. What are we doing here, people? This is why
I love it.
We have 1 TV, 2 TVs, 1 TV, 2 TVs.
They're pretty lined up.
I hate the setup. I absolutely
You don't hate it.
I do. I don't like it.
I love it.
We use it once a week and it sits there all week. But we will use it on Saturday.
We will use it on Sunday. Not as much.
Because you got college football and you've got the NFL. We will use it on Saturday.
The quad box.
And so is it good for football? Probably. But I don't love it. Because it feels like you've got the same sport competing against itself. And college football has always been the one to avoid the NFL playoffs, right? Yeah.
For good reason.
Well, here we are now, and I wonder how the ratings will do. Will more people watch the college football playoffs, or will they watch the 2 NFL games, which are not bad games on Saturday?
I think it'll be interesting because I think you'll start with a lot of viewership on the college games. And if it goes south, I think you'll see a lot of people switch to those NFL games.
Yeah.
But if they're good games, I could see people watching college games over NFL.
I agree.
It's really like a no big deal NFL week. It's not like anybody's punching a ticket, saving their season. So yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And college fans are so diehard. Like those two fan bases. But is it too
regional?
Yeah, I get
Notre Dame's the national brand playing Friday night. Are there enough games Saturday to overwhelm the NFL? I don't know.
I think if you're interested in any of those 12 teams, you're watching.
Yeah.
So those fan bases are big enough.
Yeah. Okay. Just a reminder here, I looked this up. Not easy to find an exact number. Plus 3,500, so 10 to win 350.
Dang.
Ash said, we should throw a little on Travis Hunter. That would be fun. What if he wins the Heisman? Guess what? He did.
Well, and it was just that. I don't remember what the odds were, but it was just that the odds were so long.
Yeah.
He was like 15th choice on the list. And I thought, he's the only guy who plays two positions. He's a top 3 receiver in the country. He's a top 3 defensive back in the country. How is that guy not getting a little more love?
Yeah.
I guess people thought Colorado wouldn't be very good.
And the quarterbacks win.
Yeah.
But there was no maybe a running back, right? Like when's the last time a receiver, a DB, obviously Charles Woodson, but it's either a quarterback, and if it isn't it's a running back. Mm-hmm. And Ashton Genty made this thing very close in the end, but Hunter wins the Heisman.
Tough when you're playing for Boise State.
Yeah.
I think to overcome a two-way player, no matter where that two-way player is.
And so will he now be the number 1 overall pick?
Depends on who's picking.
Yeah, that one for me is always a tough sell just because I think even if the team, like the Giants, right, slotted to get the number 1 pick, let's say the Giants didn't need a quarterback, they do.
You trade.
They would still trade out to a team that needs a quarterback. That's just the way this works. It's going to be a quarterback.
I think so too, but
unless there were an elite pass rusher, maybe, right? But I think what hurts Hunter here, Ash, instead of helping him, is that he plays 2 positions. So if you're it's like, well, what do we want to do with him almost? Is he a receiver? Is he a DB? We can have him do a little bit of both.
This is what interviews are for, and he'll talk to all these teams, and these teams are going to say, what do you want to do? We're going to play two positions. We're not going to play 2 positions. We're going to play a wide receiver. If he doesn't want to do that, maybe you think about not drafting him.
Yeah. I think you're in this camp too. Leon says Giants need a quarterback, but not. And
this is not the draft.
We've talked about this. If the Giants end up with that number 1 pick, I would trade out as well. As much as I think Shedeur Sanders should be the number 1 pick, the Giants have too many holes. I would trade out. Give me picks.
I mean, like and here's the deal: you can get a better backup who will be your starter than Drew Lock if you want to. You could trade for a decent backup quarterback who's going to be your starter for the season.
Yeah. Bunch of happy holidays out there. We see it all, everybody. Hope you have a great Christmas, Hanukkah, which starts the Christmas night, I believe, or the day after Christmas. I think it's the first day of Hanukkah. So I hope it's a good one for everybody. We've got the professional bull riding tour back in town. We did this last year, which was a lot of fun. We had one of the riders on with us. We're going to do that this year as well. Koltin Hevalow will join us coming up in about 15 minutes or so. 21 years old.
A kid.
And riding some of the fiercest animals on the planet. Going to be a lot of fun to find out how he got involved and what kind of keeps him going. The adrenaline, the money. Yeah, okay. A little bit of both. Probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult done, still to come as well. And we are giving out our Marcella's MVP of the month, our final show of December and of 2024. We're back right after this.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
Scrambling to find those last-minute gifts? Relax, Alpenhaus has you covered. Visit today and give the gift of adventure. We offer the latest in Yeti coolers and drinkware, as well as home goods from Stonewall Kitchen family of brands. Check out our incredible selection of skis and snowboards from the industry's top manufacturers. If you're looking for winter apparel, we have the best in performance and style. And an Alpen House gift card is the perfect stocking stuffer. Make it a holiday season they'll never forget. Find something for everyone on your list at Alpen House. Visit us in Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and High Adventure in Latham.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpen House.
Back on Onorato and Miller, is there something the Yankees can do to make up for missing out on Juan Soto? We'll talk about that. But one of the topics that has gotten a lot of just attention because it's the offseason, it's slow. We didn't have a chance to talk about this last week. I find it interesting. Thoughts on the golden at-bat rule, despite Rob Manfred saying it isn't coming anytime soon. It's been floated out there, not by the commissioner. It's just been floated as an idea to maybe generate a little more interest in the sport. Right, the pitch clock worked. I think the bigger bases and the number of times you can throw over to first base. I don't love that one, but I think it worked because it's encouraging guys to be more active on the base paths. So baseball has done things, Ash, to generate more interest. The games are shorter, better for viewership. Is this what they should do next?
If I want this...
Should we explain it too? So the golden at-bat rule basically is each team gets one shot at this to, let's say, Yankees are down 3-2 in the bottom of the ninth inning. And there's a man on first base, a man on anywhere, it doesn't matter. And Aaron Judge strikes out. Aaron Boone can say, nope, stay up there, Judge. Stay up there and bat again. You can basically, once a game, pick a player to hit at any point, regardless of the lineup. Is this a good idea?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If I wanted this, I will go to Savannah, Georgia, and see the wildly popular Savannah Bananas, who invent rules, and it's a circus, and it's fun, and they dance, and they make things up, and they play a different form. They don't play baseball, they play a different game. Yeah. Again, wildly popular.
Yes.
I will go to Savannah or one of their they're touring now, one of the other visiting sites if I want to see baseball like this. That's not baseball.
But you just said wildly popular twice.
Yep.
And these are games that are sold out. You can't get a ticket to see the Savannah Bananas. Because why? Because they play with some strange rules.
That's not why it's wildly popular.
Okay. It's
because they dance and bring in guests and are obscure. And if a fan catches a pop-up, it's an out. There's nothing about it is baseball. Okay. It's entertainment. Okay. It's like a circus, a show.
But shouldn't professional sports be entertainment? Shouldn't it be a show?
It is entertainment and it's a show. But you don't change the rules of a game like that.
Okay. I hate this too. Just playing the other side of it. Like
No, it's ridiculous.
And everybody who says, well, but in every other sport, you can determine at least who's on the court, who's on the ice. LeBron can always take the final shot. Steph can always take the final shot.
It's part of the strategy.
Correct. And,
it's a lineup for a reason.
Your quarterback has the ball in his hands at the end of the game. The stars factor into the end of the game. And my argument is not to be hard-headed about it, but this is what makes baseball different. Mm-hmm. Don't always just join the crowd. Sometimes you have to join the crowd, but not in this instance. No. And it is also what allows lesser known guys to become postseason heroes in a lot of ways. As a Braves fan, Francisco Cabrera is a guy who will live in, not infamy. So what would you say? Famously, he will live in infamy forever because of the one at bat he had in the NLCS against the Pittsburgh Pirates to win that series and send Atlanta to the World Series. Like you would lose that because every single time they're going to send Acuna up there.
Here's the deal. I know it's not the same, but this is what a pinch hitter is for. there is a rule that allows you to hit whoever you want for whoever you want. If you haven't done it once already, like there is essential, and I understand you're not picking the player, but like a pinch hitter is as weird as baseball gets, where you can pluck a guy off the bench and say, okay, here's my strategy. I want this guy hitting for this other guy in a big situation. Not someone who's already in the game and who just happens to be your best player. Like, hey, hang on, you just struck out. Let's try again. And no offense, but I wouldn't want that situation anyway.
So a friend at work brought this up, which I found interesting. Again, I'll just use the Yankees as an example here. Let's say, you're down 2 runs. Well, let's make it even more interesting. You're down 4, and the bases are loaded. But one of the guys on base is Aaron Judge. What do? You take Judge off second base, replace him with somebody, and then he hit.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
It's all ridiculous.
I mean, they start with an automatic runner at second base. I know. Right? Thanks for watching, Steve. We appreciate it.
Carol's whole family's their birthdays.
So here we go. Josh's birthday today as we do the show live on a Thursday, December 19th.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Drew Sunday and Carol on Christmas. Happy birthday.
Christmas, baby. Wow.
Merry Christmas.
That's exciting. Happy birthday.
Rockman's jumping in on the college football playoff conversation.
Bye-bye, Notre
His
Dame.
Ducks.
Quack, quack.
Number 1 seed. All right, so we're both out on the Golden At Bat rule.
That's ridiculous.
But it's something interesting to talk about. And I don't doubt that baseball will do something stupid like that. But,
oh, please no.
But we hope not.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Bill Miller and his squad at Performance Industrial. There's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult for them to get it done.
You going to survive?
Don't know. Need you to carry this thing.
Yeah, here we go. All right. The Yankees. So the Yankees can't be done making moves if they would like to make up for the lack of Juan Soto in their lineup and in their outfield. Here's the deal. Very good moves already. Max Fried. I like it a decent amount. Devin Williams. I like it a lot. You've added an all-star closer. You lose Clay Holmes. It's fine. He wasn't very good this season. And you also, you could potentially lose Kane Lee. You could potentially lose Tim Hill. So there could be more holes in that, not the rotation, in the bullpen. Devin Williams is a great get. And then you go and add Cody Bellinger, which I absolutely love. He's a former MVP. I know he's 29, maybe not playing his best baseball, but the guy can play anywhere. He can play all outfield positions. Last year for Chicago, he played like 40-some games in center, 40-some games in right, and he played first base. Said he's willing to do all of it. Guess what? We need potentially sometimes a center fielder. We definitely need a right fielder, and we need a first baseman. So yes, 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 and a guy who wants to play for the Yankees. I always think like some guys don't, I don't know if it just doesn't really matter to them, but his dad, Clay, was on those World Series teams in 99, 2000. It's cool for him. It's cool for Clay. It's cool for Cody. He's into it. He's a rental. Devin Williams is more of a rental, but they're rentals, and that's okay.
Yeah, Bellinger has 2 years left on his deal.
Devin's 1.
The Cubs are sending some money back to New York to help with that.
Yep.
So, yeah,
but
I think
that can't be where it ends. And that's kind of the point is like, go get a real first baseman. It's great if Bellinger wants to play first. Go get a real first baseman. There's talk about Alex Bregman. Go get Alex Bregman. Like, you talk about how much money you have. Like, let's just start handing it out because this is what you have to keep up with. It's what the Dodgers have done, and they won. Well, now you got to do what you got to do. So
Who's that real first baseman for you? Alonso, Christian Walker? I
don't really want Alonso. I take Christian Walker, Paul Goldschmidt, guys who could DH or play first. So yes, go get a first baseman. Go get Alex Bregman if you want. Like I think you got to keep going because that lineup has to get better.
Can they do enough though?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think if you go get 1 or 2 of those guys, you've done more than enough to fill that void, to at least try to fill the void.
I agree.
I think they make themselves a lot better. That's one player, and you're potentially filling 4 or 5 holes. That's getting the job done.
Yeah, I agree that there is enough the Yankees can do so they aren't missing Juan Soto. And obviously there's enough money to be spent.
And we've talked about his outfield skills are
Correct.
it's not like they'll miss his power. They'll miss him in the lineup being kind of a security blanket for Aaron Judge. But yeah, we won't miss his outfield skills.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you said to me you're going to get Bellinger, Walker, and Bregman, but not Soto, like I think I would find a way to live with that.
I'll live with all of that. Sure.
That would make a lot of sense. Okay, let's stay on performance industrial dirty difficult done here. Boy, fixing the NBA will be difficult. And I put this in quotation marks because it depends on your view of the NBA. Is it currently in a position that needs fixing or solutions? Most fans would say yes, there are way too many three-pointers being taken. And that was evident certainly in the NBA Cup. The Thunder made 3 and they threw up an absurd number of them. But I don't know how, once the genie's out of the bottle, do you put it back? Like, teams still know 3 is worth more than 2. And the analytics still say, shoot the 3. If the analytics didn't say that, teams would stop doing it. If they didn't feel like it was a winning formula, if it didn't prove to be a winning formula, they would stop doing it. But teams that shoot a lot of 3s and therefore make 3s win NBA games. Case in point, the Boston Celtics are the defending champs. They attempt more 3s per game than anybody in the NBA.
51. That's crazy.
And they win games. Now, for perspective, you go back to Golden State, which seemed revolutionary, and it was at the time in 2015-16. They led the NBA with 31.5 attempts.
That's wild.
They won 73 games that year. That set the tone for teams to say, oh, okay, we don't just want to win games. We want to beat the Warriors. How do we do that? We need to make 3s. The Warriors had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant. 3 of the best three-point shooters in NBA history. You can't just decide we're going to go shoot a lot of 3s now. That's going to be good. And it's not good for the brand when you've got a guy like Victor Wembanyama at 7'3", 7'4", who basically shoots half of his attempts from 3. That's not good for the game of basketball. And especially with the low percentages of teams that are trying to make up the difference. So,
and again, the reason the number is as high as it is, 51, because they're not making as many. The Warriors made a higher percentage of 3s when they shot 31 of them or whatever that number was. So the way to keep up was to shoot more, but it's also because they're missing more. So in order to try to beat the Warriors, you got to hit more 3s. You got to take more 3s. The Warriors were a better shooting team.
Of course.
So while they still shot a lot, they didn't need to shoot as much as everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Celtics have guys like Tatum and Brown and White who can shoot the 3. So I don't know how I don't have a solution here other than some fun things like, hey, what if you missed a 3? It cost you 3 points. Well, teams would certainly think long and hard about.
That would be ridiculous.
We're talking about a golden at bat rule. We're talking about putting an imaginary runner on second base. Right? Like, I'm not saying that that's going to happen or it should happen. I'm just saying, if you want to try to fix the problem of a lot of 3-point attempts, you need to do something drastic. And maybe it's you're only allowed to shoot a certain number per game. Maybe at the beginning of the game, the coach has to assign each player with their maximum number. I get it. I've always said the 4-point shot is coming before they move the 3-point line. Now, we've talked about moving the 3-point line, but the court is already the court. And if you think NBA teams are going to remove fan seating, courtside seating, you're out of your mind. That's not going to happen. Those are the most expensive seats in the house. There's just no way that's going to happen. So I don't know that you can make the court bigger. I don't know that you can make those corner 3s longer. And I don't think the 4-point shot, as much as I would kind of enjoy that, I don't think that helps because now more teams are going to take these ridiculous 4-point shots.
Listen, I think we're like inventing rules. To be very honest, the runner on second base is not necessarily a new idea. Like, I played those rules in softball my whole life. Once you hit the 10th inning, you start with a runner on second. So it's not that extreme. We're not changing the sport. A 4-point shot, I understand. Like I get, But like when you're starting to say like this player can only shoot so many times, like we're getting weird here. I get it, but we're getting weird.
Even LeBron James is saying way too many threes.
Okay.
Well, how
then stop shooting them?
How
don't
do
know.
you stop it? Right?
Then stop shooting threes, LeBron.
Well,
he shoots as many as anybody else.
I mean, that's obviously not going to happen, right? Teams believe that this is still how you win basketball games.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
All right, the Professional Bull Riding Tour is coming to MVP Arena December 27th and 28th. One of the stars of that show and that tour, Koltin Hevalow, is going to join the show here on Onorato and Miller next. We're back in a minute, everybody, right after this.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Bevs, Novice, Performance Industrial, Marcella's Appliance Center. All right, we did this last year. It was a lot of fun. And so when I heard the PBR was coming back to Albany and MVP Arena, I was like, man, let's get a real-life cowboy on the show.
Let's show our lack of knowledge about the sport.
Yeah.
Every year we have to learn. I feel like I have to relearn, which is okay. There's not a lot of bull riding happening in the Northeast.
That's
or
right.
rodeo.
Good for everybody
So,
who's thinking, hey, what am I doing the weekend after Christmas? Nothing? Okay.
I'm learning a lot, or trying to.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Koltin Hevalow is going to
half our age
educate us. There's no doubt about that. Educate us on his career and the sport overall. PBR. Let's bring him onto the show here. Koltin Hevalow. Koltin, man, it's Chris. It's Ash in Albany, New York, man. We're excited for your tour stop here at MVP Arena. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
We're good, man. Bottom of your screen is where you can find Koltin on Instagram and TikTok. My first thought, anytime I talk to somebody who is a bull rider or ski jumper, is how do you learn that this is something you're actually good at without breaking your neck?
You know, I was just born into a family of cowboys, cowgirls, you know, Western lifestyle. So it's just something that's been in my blood and in my family generations before me, you know. So it's something I've loved and grew up around and worked hard at.
You're 21 now. How old were you when you were on a first live bull trying to buck you?
Oh, I started when I was 3 riding sheep.
Yeah,
And,
I was going to say smaller animals, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but I got on my first big bull probably when I was about 12.
Okay.
Do you have an injury count? Like broken bones, things like that?
I've had a few broken bones. I honestly don't have a count on how many I've broke exactly. There's probably a few that I've had injuries on that I just didn't even know about or even care to go get fixed. So I'm sure there's more than I know.
All right. One thing that I find really interesting about this sport too is the bull gets a name also.
Yeah.
Give me a name of a bull that has been difficult for you or you found interesting that sticks in the brain from your years of riding?
One bull, I guess, that I can say that has been difficult for me that I've had to overcome, and I actually got to get on earlier a few weeks ago. They call him Montana Jacket. That's one bull that I've had to overcome. I've always wanted to get on him, and the first time I got on him, he bucked me off, wrecked me out. I had to get stitches put in my jaw. He ripped my helmet off, but I ended up getting on him about a month ago at a PBR and ended up riding him, so I got my revenge.
Okay.
Koltin, you're coming off your best season individually, You also, as a team, you ride for Kansas City, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You had a really good performance, actually. Last time you were in Albany was one of your top finishes. Do you plan on, I mean, I don't know what it is about Albany. I'm sure it had absolutely nothing to do with the city, the water, the food, anything like that. But you got to like Albany and where you were this time last year.
Yeah, Albany has treated me pretty good the past 2 years. First year I ended up making the short round. Last year, I believe I made the short round. I can't remember exactly, but Albany has treated me very, very, very good.
What did you think the potential was when you're 12 years old? You said you kind of grew up in this. And I read that you made history at 19 as being like the first Cowboy to win a PBR debut. What did you think the potential was? Obviously, it's a sport that's on television, so I'm sure that influenced you, and you see the sponsorships and you see the touring around the country. Was this always the dream for you?
Yeah, being one of the best board riders in the world, but let alone a world champion board rider is something that I've dreamed about since day one, and I've won at every level I've been at growing up. From the time I was riding sheep all the way up to big bulls in high school and junior high. I've won all of it that you could possibly win, and now when I turned 18, I went and won my first PBR, and that was something that proved to myself that not only do I belong with the best guys in the world, I am one of the best guys in the world. And the only thing that is standing between me and being the greatest board rider in the world is a PBR World Championship.
I was going to say, when you start to tick things off the list, you get high school champion bull rider, you go to college on a scholarship for bull riding, which is mind blowing to me. You make the Velocity Tour, which would you describe that as like the minor leagues of bull riding?
I wouldn't say the Velocity is. It's just a step below the Unleash the Beast. It's just a stepping stone. You have to earn your right to get to the top.
So kind of like a development league, I guess.
Yeah.
Then once you're in the PBR, so now the only next goal is like, well, I'm going to win the whole dang thing, right? Like that's it?
Yes, ma'am. That's the whole goal at the end of the season, is to hold a gold buckle above your head that says world champion.
No one discouraged you along the way, or were there people who said, "This is crazy"? What either from a career standpoint, like how are you going to make a career out of this? It's such a long shot, right? You're a professional athlete. We talk all the time about the rarity of envisioning it at 12 years old and then actually making it come true, let alone having a scholarship to go to college. What was that path like for you, from people who maybe said, one, this is crazy, it's too dangerous, but two, like, do you really think you can make it?
There's people that try to say, oh, he can't do it, he won't be able to make it. But my dad, he rode bulls and broncs for a long time, and he's like, I really don't want him doing it. And I've wanted it since the day I could walk and be able to do it. So as I had done it, he supported me and helped me the best that he possibly could. And I just kind of took it from there and went on with it. And they've been some of my biggest supporters. And now I just use what people think, oh, I ain't going to do. I use that as motivation to be better.
I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but I've noticed in the highlights that we've been rolling here, your helmet toss is
epic.
is like a bat flip at the end of your good rides.
Yeah, I throw my helmet and I take a bow. They know me in the PBR as the guy taking the bow. So that's just something I've done. So everybody's got their own celebration. That's my own celebration.
I love it. Like any good professional athlete, Koltin, you got to have a calling card. And yours is the bow and the helmet toss. And there are kids, I'm sure, who follow bull riding and the PBR who will pick you out and be like, yeah, you're the guy. I want your autograph. You know what I mean? So good for you for setting yourself apart. I love that.
Thank you.
Well, Koltin, we wish you continued success, man. Stay healthy. Can't wait to see you in Albany, December 27th and 28th at MVP Arena. Man, safe travels, and thanks for doing the show live with us at an inconvenient time at night for us anyway here in the East Coast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, that's Koltin Hevalow. And again, you can see on the bottom of your screen where to find him on Instagram and TikTok. It's just his name with an underscore in between. All right, let's take a time out here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, we've got that Marcella's MVP of the month still to give out and our Week 16 picks in the NFL. Back right after this.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpin House. It's time for the MVP of the month, sponsored by Marcella's Appliance Center.
Johnny Marcella and Nick Madelo and the great crew at Marcella's Appliance Center, the two locations, the flagship store in Schenectady and the newly renovated, improved, expanded spot in Clifton Park. Not all that new anymore, but a good spot in Clifton Park as well. MVP of the month here. It's Josh Allen.
Slam dunkaroo.
I think he's the MVP of the league. It's not
the
going to
last
be
2 weeks were
that easy when you look at Lamar Jackson's numbers. Jackson's putting up better numbers than he did in his previous MVP campaigns, and maybe there's going to be some voter fatigue. If it ends up being Jackson, I won't love it because it just feels like it should be Allen's year. Mm-hmm. The Bills came in having traded away Stephon Diggs, and it was like, who are they going to go? How can they possibly? Mm-hmm. Allen's been unreal. 25 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. And that's the biggest thing for me is he's cut down on the turnovers. He's not playing as recklessly, I guess, or he's just picking his spots better. Anyway, 3 games, 13 total touchdowns. He had 6 in one game, 4 in another. And the Bills are averaging 41.5 points a game this month.
And one of them came in a loss. Listen, one of his best games of his career, record setting, came in a loss, which just tells you, like, man, if they had a better defense, this might be a team that could really be like, hey, look out. But yeah, they beat the Lions last week by putting up an incredible performance. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. Oh, we picked against them. Oops, that happens all the time with me. And everyone, this is so classic. Everyone goes back to the woman in his life. Have you seen the Deion Dawkins sound? It was like, no. Yeah, he's got a great because someone was like, hey, since Josh Allen got engaged to Haley Steinfeld, he's been off the charts good. But how often does the woman get blamed for the opposite? Like,
all the time.
Oh, he got married and now we can't play football. Or, oh, he got engaged and now we can't play baseball. It's always our fault, one way or the other. At least she's getting the credit this time. Good for you, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, he's our MVP of the month. He's having a heck of a month. Good for him. It'll be a lot to celebrate for the Bills, who have won that division already and now have an outside shot still at that top overall seed, with a banged up but seemingly playing Patrick Mahomes, who is cleared to play this weekend. Kirk Cousins will not be playing. I mean, I guess unless it's an absolute disaster with Michael Penix Jr., but the Falcons are playing the Giants. He's a rookie, favored.
Yep.
That doesn't happen often.
Yep.
And so Atlanta says, we know we're in the middle of a playoff race. We know we just won our last game. Time to say to Kirk, hey, man, 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions in the last 4 games, not getting it done.
You can't.
Let's see what the rookie's got. I think it's the right call here. You've got a chance to win the division. Cousins isn't giving you enough right now. Find out what you've got in Penix.
Yeah, and listen, he was, I think, kind of perturbed and gave a quote about, like, I didn't forget how to play football. Yeah. We get it. Yeah. You know how to play football, but you're not playing good football. And 1 touchdown, forget the 9 interceptions. You can take the 9 interceptions in 4 games. You're okay. You're going to throw 2 picks a game. if you're throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, it's not a conversation you even have, like, because you're probably going to win some of those games. 1 touchdown in 4 games is the problem, or 3 games, whatever it was. It's not the 9 interceptions as much for me, but just a severe lack of offense altogether.
Yeah, it wasn't even right. The Monday night game they win against a bad Raiders team wasn't pretty. And that was, I think, a great opportunity to say, hey, we can't even beat a 2-win Raiders team with ease.
And this is a dude making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you're a smart team, you don't let that derail you. You give the kid a chance. And if he goes out and can win you a couple games and get you into the playoffs, guess what? Then you ride the rookie. You let him go and say, like, great, you sit on the bench. You can tutor him, mentor him, get him ready to go. You're playing scout team.
Yeah. All right, one more break here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, the Week 16 picks in the NFL. Back in a minute.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
Scrambling to find those last-minute gifts? Relax, Alpenhaus has you covered. Visit today and give the gift of adventure. We offer the latest in Yeti coolers and drinkware, as well as home goods from Stonewall Kitchen family of brands. Check out our incredible selection of skis and snowboards from the industry's top manufacturers. If you're looking for winter apparel, we have the best in performance and style. And an Alpenhaus gift card is the perfect stocking stuffer. Make it a holiday season they'll never forget. Find something for everyone on your list at Alpenhaus. Visit us in Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and High Adventure in Latham.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
We've picked NFL games every single week of the year. We're going to mix it up a little bit because
this was fun.
We've got great college games.
So Chris picks the games.
To focus in on.
You're at work. You pick the games. You look at the spreads. So some of our spreads are different because we get them on like a Monday or Tuesday whenever they come out.
Yeah.
We've never picked college games before. We know from experience of picking games outside of this show that we're not incredibly gifted at picking college games. We're a little bit better at NFL games. But when the email came this week and Chris had listed the games, I was like, let's go. We're picking some college games.
Here's what we did last week. Similar, but not exactly the same.
Yeah, not exactly.
We were both 3-2. 41-38 for me, 45-34. Really good season for Ash.
Did my record get fixed? I can't even remember. Okay.
Indiana at Notre Dame, Friday night. Irish favored. This has moved a touch below that number now. It's 7 in Notre Dame's favor. The Irish at home on a Friday night against Indiana, who you've been down on all year. And we both like the Irish.
I haven't been down on them all year. I don't think of any such thing. Yeah, and this is, for me, I'm not sure that it's an Irish team that is going to put up a whole load of points, but I still like the Irish at home, in-state rivalry. I think they're going to be, and this kind of sounds crazy, like I think they fear losing to Indiana, and maybe that's enough to propel them to win this game. Like the fear of losing to a team in-state that would just be like kind of a dagger in an otherwise historically subpar playoff performances. I think you really fear the losing that first game.
See, fear.
And it's not going to make you play well, but I think it'll be enough.
That's my thing. Does it paralyze you? Right?
I don't think so.
If Indiana goes up 10-0.
Well, but I think that's the difference is like the message is like you go out there and you step on their throat and you don't let off. Like you just keep going. So I think you go out and you try to score early and often and you don't stop.
Yeah, I think people who may not have paid attention to Notre Dame this year and dismissed them after the Northern Illinois loss, and I get that, you wouldn't realize how good this defense is. And that's despite the fact that they lost their best defender in Benjamin Morrison, or how well they run the football. I think they're going to pound the ball against Indiana. Indiana has had a great season by its standards. But how many times have we come back
better than great by its standards?
Who have the Hoosiers beaten?
Right. And that was that was kind of my thing all year long. I wasn't saying they were a bad team.
Yeah.
They weren't a good team, but like beat a good team and then come back and let's talk about how good you are. You are a much improved football team for what that program stands for. And in the Big Ten, you're a much improved football team, but you're not a top 10 football team in my mind. So we'll see.
And, you know, the loss to Northern Illinois, I think, has been really good for Notre Dame. And I just can't see a bunch of JMU transfers beating a bunch of Notre Dame recruits. I just don't see that happening. SMU at Penn State here. This is one of the most interesting games of the weekend for me because it's an unknown for a lot of the country. How many people are paying attention to SMU football this year?
I don't think I've watched a single
Not
game.
many.
And they're in the ACC, and I haven't watched a single game.
If the weather cooperates enough, this could be a lot of fun. We saw Penn State put up a ton of points in its loss to Oregon in the Big Ten title game. I don't think we will because it's a noon kick. It's going to be cold, but this could be one of the high scoring games of the weekend. You say no, low scoring.
No, I mean back and forth. We're getting up and down.
But we both like SMU here to keep it close, right?
Yeah,
you picking the Mustangs to win or just to keep it?
No, I think just to cover. More than a touchdown for me. Okay. And the spreads are obviously bigger in college, and I think easier to get big separation in a spread in college than it is the NFL. But yeah, I still think it's a little large.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think this is a close game when all said and done. I like a little sprinkle on SMU as plus money to win straight up. And so I'll take them here to at least just keep it close. Here's the one game we differ on, maybe all week. We'll have to kind of get to it here. Clemson at Texas. This is the biggest number on the board. Longhorns at home, 11.5.
And that's why I shied away. Feels too big. Texas has struggled to score more late in the season than they did early in the season.
No doubt.
Quinn Ewers lit the world on fire in his first 2 games, battled some injuries. We saw a little bit of arch, but recently it hasn't been. They're not scoring 45 points a game, 40 points a game. Clemson has started to figure it out enough that I think 11.5 is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I'm going to give the points here based on Texas's defense, not offense. They'll stop the run, and then I don't think Clemson has enough through the air to keep up with Texas. So, like, I think they could keep Clemson to 14, and then you're telling me I only need to get to 26, 27.
Yeah,
I can do that. I think this defense could really shut Clemson down. I actually have a side bet as Clemson to be the lowest scoring team
in the
first round of the college football playoff.
That's an interesting bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tennessee, Ohio State, Saturday night. Fun one. Again, we said at the beginning of the show what makes this first round of college football playoff games fun, in our opinion anyway, right now, is because we get matchups we don't generally see. This is what made like the World Series fun back in the day because the National League never played the American League. Now we're getting conference games that don't get scheduled because teams don't want to play heavy opponents out of conference. Going to be cold. And not that Tennessee, right? Tennessee is in the SEC and plays in big environments. So the horseshoe is not going to overwhelm the Volunteers.
No, but it's going to be colder than they're used to.
The combination of it all, will be interesting to see how Nico is able to try to keep this thing on the tracks. We know that Tennessee's defense has really carried them all year. Can Iamaleava create enough offense to keep up with the Buckeyes?
Great name.
It is.
I love that you said it. I didn't think you were going to say it. You went Nico, and I thought he's not going to say it, but it's pretty
He's
great.
Become kind of a one-name guy now. People know Nico when you say Nico, but Iamaleava is just fun to say.
Yeah, it is fun to say. For me, it was like Tuiasosopo. Like if I looked at it, I couldn't spell it for you, but I could say it. And some of those names are fun, and Iamaleava is as fun as it gets. Yeah, I agree with you. Their defense has been great all year, and it's probably the reason they've won a lot of games. I also think until Ohio State, I think that you got to prove you can win a big game. Yeah,
for this version of Ohio State to show up.
Yep.
And it hasn't come. Will Howard has not had the type of season I expected. They have not run the ball the way I thought they would with Henderson and Judkins and bringing Chip Kelly in to run the foot. It has not happened. And so every week I've thought, well, this is it. Ohio State is a sleeping giant here. They're going to explode at some point. But forget the deeper we go into the season, we're to the playoff here and haven't seen it really. Now I've started to doubt that it ever comes together. So I think Tennessee's able to keep it close.
This is a serious question.
Okay.
Is Ohio State a better team this year with Kyle McCord at quarterback? If he stayed and they didn't run him out of town and say they didn't want him despite him losing like 2 games in his whole career there or something absurd, are they a better team?
Yeah, probably.
Statistically, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. I know that doesn't mean a lot in the ACC. It means a lot at Syracuse. But it was a real thought I had.
Yeah,
like, is he a better fit for this team if they didn't say, like, nope, we don't want you. Okay, see ya.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Howard came in as a better dual threat quarterback, right?
But he didn't run a lot.
No, he didn't. And Ohio State has one of the best freshman wide receivers. They have one of the best wide receivers in the country. 2 of them, actually. Yeah. A freshman who's terrific. And they don't get the ball enough on the outside. So maybe we have neighbors who would not like that answer.
I know. We also have neighbors who have said it means more. They'd rather, and this came out, they'd rather beat Michigan. Like, beating Michigan is the most important thing of the season. I said, you're telling me you lose to Michigan and go win a national title and you're not satisfied? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because if you lose to Michigan and then go win a national title, guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody remembers the loss to Michigan. And then you can, because at the end of the day, you can wave at Michigan and say, like, great, you won that game. We took home a national championship. That's the only thing that should matter, is a national title. If you had to trade one for the other and you wouldn't do it, you're crazy.
But Ohio State fans would say, not just the loss to Michigan this year, if Ryan Day wins the title this year, they would say, yeah, but he's still 1-4 against the Wolverines.
Who cares? You won a national title. That's regular season. As long as you win it, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I get it. It's a rivalry. But at the end of the day, Michigan won a national championship last year. That's why you want to beat them, because they won a national championship. But now go do what they already did. It's all that matters. Titles.
On to the NFL here. The Saturday games. Steelers, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs is the other game. We're picking this one. Lamar Jackson, 1-4 against the Steelers in his career.
Crazy.
He was terrible the first time out in the regular season. This year, we both like Baltimore to win by more than 5.
I've come off the Steelers a little bit.
Buccaneers, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football, News Channel 13. We both like the road team here.
Something to play for.
Tampa Bay is a tough team.
Something to play for.
I wouldn't want to have to go to Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and Green Bay might have to do that. Dallas with a win last week, but Baker has the boys playing well and correct. They have something to play for. The division still on the line here. So we both go Notre Dame. We both go SMU. I'm on Texas. Ash is on Clemson.
Different orange teams.
Both like the Volunteers. Both like the Ravens. Both like the Bucks. So this is either going to go really well for us or really poorly.
Pretty much win together.
Although I guess it could be average, right?
Yeah. We could both be. We can't both be 3-2 this.
No,
right. 3-3. Right. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all that football.